win by 20, but God forbid any other team with a pulse beats the dregs of the NBA.
And God forbid the best player on the Bucks actually do anything.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? NBA Strategy Show presented by Yahoo Sports. It is the final day of 2019, and I say good riddance. Bring on 2020. We've got a lovely 4-game slate to talk about. A couple day-ish basketball games as well, so that should be fun, at least for something to watch. I am Josh Engelman. I am joined by Adam Scher, a.k.a. Ship My Money. You ship any money yesterday?
No, I barely played.
But your Wizards won by 18 against Miami. Where you at on that one, man? You should have been loaded
it was
up.
a fun game
You didn't
to
have
watch,
a lot of Garrison Matthews?
No, I had him projected for 10 minutes, not 30 points.
Yeah. If I gave you 30 points for the week, what would I like? What kind of odds could I have gotten from you? Garrison,
I don't know how many times they play, but probably pretty good ones.
Yeah, wait, where is he? Is he just not even in this?
What are you looking at a box score?
I'm looking at lineup study from yesterday.
Yeah.
And Garrison Matthews' name is not listed, which makes me think that he was owned in 0 lineups in the 50.
I mean, he probably was. But no, one of the Wizards beat writers yesterday tweeted, I don't know where the box score was from, but it was like during the game, and it just said unknown player, like 18 points.
I saw that, which is amazing. Was he really in? I don't. Like he had to be in a lineup.
I mean, I was looking early in the night, and he wasn't in any of the top lineups, at least.
He is not available to be clicked on DraftKings or in lineup study. Just not there.
I mean, it makes sense because like it's not like it was one of those guys where he was projected for like 24 minutes, and if you really suck at DFS, you could get him in some lineups. Like I assume most sites had him projected for like lower than whatever threshold people use as like their minimum score.
Unbelievable. Who's the least owned guy? I mean, even Chandler Parsons got owned yesterday.
That's odd.
So did Kyrie and Hazonia, Luke Kennard, Cameron Reynolds, Rajon Tucker. I mean, there are guys that got owned that I don't know who. Charlie Brown got owned. That's not even a name.
I guess
That's
it's kind of weird. Yeah.
Even Waiters got 2 people to own him. It's craziness. Absolutely crazy. And yeah, he would just going crazy. I kept waiting for my guys to do well, and it's like, oh, cool. Everybody else score. That'll be fine. So this is why you don't project blowouts. This is why every game is relevant, because the Washington Wizards beat the Miami Heat yesterday by 18, and somehow the Atlanta Hawks beat the Orlando Magic by 8. That's like
the Hawks one is still just insane to me.
I think it's ridiculous that Minnesota beat Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Culver Napier, Gorgie Zhang, Keelan Martin, Robert Covington, Keita Bates-Diop, Naz Reid. I mean, like, a lot of those guys are not real NBA players. There are 3 ridiculous wins in the NBA yesterday. At least Utah held serve. Just absolutely eviscerated the Pistons.
And Quinn Snyder left his starters in until like the 2-minute, 30-second mark of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Bogdanovich played 35 minutes. So did Gobert. Yeah. Sure, they needed that. Sure, they needed it. Utah scored 36 points in the fourth quarter. It was their highest scoring quarter.
Yeah, I love Quinn Snyder at home. He just doesn't take his guys out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Christian Wood ended up playing 28 minutes, which if you told me that before lock, I probably would have ended up with even more. Finished with 11 and 9. And that's it.
Yeah, I ended up not getting, I mean, I didn't play much, but when I ran my final crunch, I ended up getting not a lot. So kind of wish I had played.
I'd imagine you didn't have him at 28 minutes, though.
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I had him
just
26.
25 points.
Yeah. God, wild.
Yeah, I ended up, in my final DraftKings crunch, if I had played 150, I would have had 10%.
Okay. 56.7%. That's how he was owned in the $15 last night. The mini year-end special. Hassan Whiteside second at 51.5. I mean, that was one of the weirder prices of the year. Loved that Whiteside price. And then DeAndre Ayton gets ruled in. Even incrementally helps Whiteside. Amazing to think about. Jimmy Butler laid a bit of an egg, even though he still went for 40. Bam laid an egg, even though I thought that he was going to go for 60 after the first half. Big bust. Carmelo Anthony, 18.75. The 3.5x. Jordan McRae. You see that one coming? 55 fantasy points. The second
Didn't
highest
see that
score.
coming. I mean, obviously he was a good play. Like I would have had like 40% on DraftKings, but no, did not see that coming.
Second highest scorer of the night behind Spencer Dinwiddie. Amazing.
I'm looking back now through like what I would have had exposure wise, and still glad I didn't play with 88% Jeff Teague and 45% Melo.
Yeah, I ended up, I had a lot of Teague, and I was like, oh no, what should I do here? Tried to back it down a little bit, didn't get me where I needed to be. Melo
45% Dragic, 65% Brown.
Winning lineup: Jordan McRae, Spencer Dinwiddie, Keelan Martin, John Isaac, Gorgeous Dong, Devin Booker, Kelly Oubre, Hassan Whiteside. Martin was pretty much just a salary play.
He was way higher owned than I expected.
What did he get to?
Like 13 or 14.
16.7. Yeah. Chris Spags touting him. I did not have any shares of him yesterday. FanDuel, obviously, a little bit different too. I got really nervous about John Isaac. I am very glad he cooled off. That probably would have stung a little bit more. So kudos to Lake Woody. 100K in the pocket. 4-gamer today. And that's brought to you by Yahoo Sports. They are the presenting sponsor of this show. I am dropping the link to Emacs Cash Building Blocks article from yesterday into chat. Read it. Get a little bit of understanding. Check out the picture, which shows just an absolutely terrible haircut on Kyle Kuzma. The end of the article, click the link, use the promo code AWESOMO, get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. You can get them YSRPs. You're going to find softer competition, CSV edits, lower management fees, which I think is the big one for everybody. Anytime you can keep a little bit of extra scratch in your bank account or in your Yahoo account, it's going to be a little bit better for you. So I highly recommend you go check it out. Check out the article. Use that promo code AWESOMO for $30 in YSRPs. And then if you want to sign up at Awesemo, go to awesemo.com/join. Use the promo code NBA Strategy. One big word. Get yourself 50% off your first month. We've still got NFL content coming up through the playoffs. NBA is in full swing. Jake over there dominating hockey. Be seeing him in a couple months. Can't wait. Golf is back. We've got the Opening Tee podcast with Jason Roslin and Ben Rasa. That went up today for the Century Tournament of Champions, so check that out. Soccer, we've got a big EPL slate for tomorrow. Projections will be up for that. Can't beat it. Check it all out. NBA Strategy, the promo code. One big word. 50% off your first week. Well, Adam, we have 3 games tipping off at 7 o'clock, 1 game at 8. I kind of like those slates because it allows you to sweat in real time. Like, you kind of know where you're at right out of the gate, which is always nice. Good game, sort of. Rockets Nuggets should be really fun if the Rockets play today. We have some injury guys up in the air. I expect everybody to play, but we shall see. Capella definitely could be a little squirrely. I would like to watch the Thunder and the Mavs, but is it just me or are the Thunder like the least interesting team in the league?
I don't know about least interesting, but like they don't play as fast as the other teams. They play better defense than a lot of the teams, so they're not like the most enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, like they're not really playing for anything. I don't really have like a vested interest. Like they don't care if they do well. I don't care if they do well.
Yeah.
They just sort of like exist to have a team.
Yeah, like they're there. They have some decent players, but They're just like whatever.
They're rarely interesting from a fantasy perspective. I know less about the Oklahoma, and like they've got a pretty firm rotation of guys where like it's rarely someone different. You're never like, oh, it's Terrence Ferguson night. Like
Right.
it's just they are exactly what you expect every single day.
I mean, some people did decide it was Darius Baisley night the other day.
No, well, those people are not the smartest. You want to talk Rockets Nugs?
Yeah, let's go.
Houston Rockets, Denver Nuggets. Rockets 1-point favorites at home, which I think is a little interesting. Let's just open it up to a generic question. Do you expect anybody to be out for the Rockets tonight?
I wouldn't be surprised if Capella was out.
I put him in, but I agree with you that would be the one that I would be the least shocked for. He's been out for 2 games now, I believe.
Yes.
He missed the back-to-back for the weekend, the 28th and the 29th. Harden and Westbrook also sat out on Sunday. So, for right now, that is important information in that there will basically be not a legitimate center out there against Jokic if Capella doesn't play. Don't think Tyson Chandler is going to be able to be up for it for 30 minutes, but we shall see. So let's just assume that Harden and Westbrook are in for right now. James Harden is 11.5 on FanDuel, 10.5 on DraftKings. Russ is 9,600 on FanDuel, 9,600 on DraftKings. I like James Harden quite a bit in this spot, a lot more than I like Russell Westbrook. How are you feeling about these two guys?
James Harden should never be $10,500 on DraftKings.
Nope.
It's not a good matchup. You know, Denver's slow. They're good enough defensively, but it's just a mispricing on Harden at 10.5. Like Westbrook at 9,600 is fine. His minutes have been up, which is good. If Capella's out, he gets a rebounding bump, but 10,500 for Harden is just $1,000 off.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Like, obviously, you and I love Luka, but to pay $1,100 more for Luka is just a real tough sell in the spot. So sign me up for all of the James Harden. I think shooting guard looks pretty good for all of the guys that are functional on FanDuel today, but I still want a bunch of Harden. What do you want to do with Westbrook? Because I'm not really enamored with that $9,600 price on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's not that I think he's overpriced so much as I think like Harden's underpriced. I think there's, other options to get to, and it's really not an appealing matchup. So like if it's a 4-game slate, so obviously you're going to get to some Westbrook, but I don't think he's a priority for me.
Okay. If Capella plays, are you interested? Because I have him in for 32 minutes right now, and I'm not, but I might have to bump those minutes.
Yeah, I'll say, I would give him more than 32 minutes. If I give him 36 minutes, he comes out as like a decent option. I would have him ahead of Westbrook and behind Harden for sure from Houston.
I have no idea why I typed in 32 minutes for him. That's preposterous. He doesn't play anything remotely resembling that ever. I looked at him and I was like, well, of course he looks like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would have him ahead of Russell Westbrook and behind Harden. I think we're on the same page there. And then I don't want anybody else from Houston.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Gordon is a totally different player when Westbrook and Harden are in. He's essentially useless. The price came up on Hartenstein, so even if Capella's out, it's pretty tough to get excited about a $5,400 Hartenstein. So yeah, I think it's pretty much whoever plays out of the big three.
Yeah. Denver side, I think it's a lot more appealing. We're not going to have Paul Millsap. He is out, so Jeremy Grant is going to get enough minutes that he is very viable, particularly at 4,200 on FanDuel. Jokic, Murray, Barton, Grant, Harris. I'm going to have a decent amount of all of these guys. I don't get the sense that is terribly shocking either, but Jamal Murray for 6,600 on FanDuel I think is my favorite option from the Nuggets, and then he might actually be my favorite option at 6,800 on DK, although he has not been good as of late. What do you want to do with Denver?
Yeah, I mean Murray's always tough to talk about as far as like a medium projection standpoint because he's so scoring dependent and his salary is always at a point where like if he has his good game, he's not priced even close to where he should be. But if he's not scoring, then he's overpriced. So he's always like a weird one. But yeah, I think Murray's fine. I think Jokic's salary is okay. He's been playing a bit better lately, if not including his last game. Pace up spot for Denver. So yeah, I think Jokic, Murray, Grant as value all look pretty good.
I gave Torrey Craig minutes in this one. I have no idea if that actually happens or not. I don't think it really matters. They're going to rotate through some sort of combination of Craig, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, Michael Porter, and I don't think any one of those three guys are terribly viable, but this is kind of like the Torrey Craig game.
Yeah, the only way I would say that Craig mattered was like if we had like a Q tag on Harris instead of probable.
Yeah.
Like there would be some chance that he started over Porter,
But for now, I don't think it matters. The only guys that I'm looking at are the main five. Any situation where you're getting to Mason Plumlee?
Let me see.
Since Millsap is out and Denver doesn't mind playing Jokic and Plumlee together.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in the last, that's not the right game. No, there it is. Okay. Yeah. I pulled up the game where Plumlee started. I was like, that didn't happen. In the last game, he played 0 minutes alongside Jokic. So that's obviously a little concerning. And it's not like Houston's a big front court, but you at least have the potential for him to get a little bit more playing time. At 4,400, if you give him 16 minutes as the backup center, he's not really interesting. If you start giving him like 20, he starts to pop a little bit. So not too interested in him, but with it being a 4-game slate and him probably getting no ownership, it's not the craziest tournament play. Just don't play him with Jokic because even though, like, if you're rostering him, you're hoping he gets a few minutes alongside Jokic. The easiest way for him to succeed is obviously Jokic foul trouble or something.
All right, put the Denver guys in order. Put you on the spot here, but they're kind of all really similar for me, and I think that's kind of murky.
Yeah, I think they're really similar too. Jokic, Grant, Murray, Barton.
So Harris is last.
Forgot he plays.
There you go. So did he.
Yeah.
Harden full stop is the best play in this game. I assume probably your favorite play on the slate.
I don't know about that, but
ooh.
I mean, I don't have him as like a great. I have him at like 58 points on DraftKings,
okay,
which for him is pretty low. So it's like I think he's mispriced, but it's not like one of those days where I have him projected for 70 and his price went down.
That's fair. If we're talking FanDuel, for me, I'm going to go Murray, Grant, Jokic, Barton, Harris. And I expect to get just staggering amounts of James Harden, at least on FanDuel. He's just easier to pay up for, in my opinion. And I think we're going to need those raw points. Let's go to San Antonio. The Spurs, 114.5 implied total. Warriors, 105.5. So 9-point favorites for the Spurs. God, I hate the Spurs so much. But DeJounte Murray, if he's playing 28 minutes, 5,700 on FanDuel, 5,900 on DraftKings, he's the guy that stands out most to me from San Antonio, especially against just a really bad Golden State team. No D'Angelo Russell, no Willie Cauley-Stein, no real talent outside of Draymond Green. What do you want to do with the Spurs?
It's not as good a matchup as it had been. Like Golden State's actually been defending reasonably well, and more importantly, playing a lot slower. But yeah, I mean, I think that like 5,900 for Murray in 28 minutes is okay on DraftKings. Obviously, his production isn't quite as high when he's playing alongside DeRozan and Aldridge, but I think it's still reasonable. I like the pricing on DeRozan and Aldridge better than on Murray, though. Like, you're going to get 33, 34 minutes from those guys if the game's competitive. And even though they have both been relatively disappointing from a fantasy standpoint, I just think that the salaries are a little bit low given the opportunities that they have.
Would you rather have Aldridge or DeRozan?
Um, it's really I have Aldridge projected like 1 point higher, and he's $500 more. So, I guess DeRozan by a very small margin.
Okay. $3,600 Jake Puddle. Is that a place where we're trying to soak up some value today?
I don't think so.
Trey Lyles.
I mean, Pirtle actually played some minutes alongside Aldridge last game, I assume because of Drummond. I don't think that'll be the case here.
Okay. Is Lyles in play for you then at 3,500? Are you looking to anything from San Antonio from a value perspective?
So Lyles got 20 minutes last game, but he obviously got hurt by the size there. Like I just said, like you could give him, 22, 24 minutes. I still don't think that I really get there, but
okay.
Like I have him projected around 19, 20 fantasy points. So he's an okay point per dollar option, but when you start factoring in range of outcomes, I don't think I'll get a lot.
That works for me. I would prefer Aldridge to DeRozan on FanDuel, even though he is $600 more expensive. But Murray is the guy that I think I would get to most out of anybody in this game. Just big error bars on his production. Warriors side. I'm really getting tired of rostering the dregs of Golden State when most of these guys are out. Kai Bowman, 3,100 on DraftKings. He was not playing monster minutes when D'Angelo Russell was out earlier when Draymond Green was healthy. I have him in for 28 right now. I don't know if that's a little too high, but either way, I think at 3,100 we probably need to be talking about him. I like Alec Burks. I think Marquise Chris is going to be pretty viable at 4K and 4,100. I think Draymond is like pretty low in my list of guys that I want to get to today. I'd say probably Bowman, Chris, and Burks are my three favorite Warriors, but probably 7 or 8 guys that are viable today.
Yeah, the last game that Russell missed, Bowman played 37 minutes off the bench. I don't think that will be the norm. Like he played the last 20 minutes of that game, but I would expect, at least 28 to 30, like you said, even if he's coming off the bench. And at 3,100, that obviously is valuable.
Yeah.
So I think, a clear top value there. Draymond should be, I think, more productive. I'm pulling up the numbers now, but I assume he's going to have the ball more, and you could see more assist opportunities without Russell. So maybe a little bit of a bump for him.
Okay. What do we do with these like faceless wings? Damian Lee, Alec Burks, Glenn Robinson, Pascal. I think that's probably about it.
Yeah, I mean, there should be more usage for Burks and Lee. Burks' salaries come down a bit as well. Potentially more minutes for him too. So I think I like Burks out of that group the most.
And then how are we going to handle center? Is it just Marquise Chris is probably the only guy? Does Alan Smilagic do anything for you?
I would assume that Chris. I don't.
This team sucks, man.
I know. Like Pascal could get the start too. I would think that you're getting most of the center minutes split between those two, between Chris and Eric Pascal. Chris is 4,100, so not dirt cheap. I think that like he obviously has to play reasonably well to be worth his salary, but there is still some upside if he's going to get around 24 minutes. For Eric Pascal, 3,400 is a really nice price point there if you assume he's going to get in the mid-20s as well.
Smilagic played 19.6 minutes on Saturday, so
yeah, I expect him to be in the rotation.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, not that I expect him to just play 20 minutes, but at the very least, we know that he can play 19.6 minutes, and that is, in a weird way, valuable information.
Yeah.
For the Warriors.
Draymond without Curry or Russell on the floor this year is at 0.97 DraftKings points per minute.
That's shitty.
Yeah, that's not great.
I'm not exactly surprised that he might see some motivation issues when the other talent is off the floor.
Well, and also, if you remember from when Russell was out, the problem is like Draymond has the ball in his hands, but teams just sag off of him and dare him to shoot, and he doesn't have shooters around him to knock down shots when he passes. So like he has a 31.5% assist percentage, but his overall productivity isn't going to move that much because he can't shoot and the guys around him can't get him assists.
I know this is going to be really not fun, but I'm doing it anyway. Rank the Warriors on DraftKings.
Bowman, Burks.
Is
Green.
Bowman like lock type status for you because of that price tag? I don't mean to cut you off, but like 3,100 is very appealing.
Like if I give him 28 minutes, I get him to 21 fantasy points, which obviously sucks in terms of raw points, but it's still 7x the salary. So yeah, I assume, at least as of right now, that I would get him close to 100.
Okay, that's where I was leading to. So continue.
So Bowman, Burks, Green. Who cares? Sorry, I forgot Pascal. Bowman, Burks, Pascal, Green, and then start picking names out of a hat.
Okay, that's fair. On FanDuel, oh god, like I could feel my stomach turn when I prepare to like say some of these names. Chris, Bowman, Burks, Lee, Robinson, Green. Blech. Oh boy. That is a really unappealing lot of players. I'm not going to lie. I could do without all of that Lakers nonsense. Or Lakers. Warriors, rather. Warriors, guys. It's almost 2020. Get me back there. Get me to the new year. Get me to a fresh brain. Toronto Raptors. Cleveland Cavaliers. Raptors 10-point favorites at home against the Cavs. We know the cast of characters for the Raptors that are out, but oh boy, am I going to be playing a lot of Toronto here. Kyle Lowry is 7,800 on FanDuel and 8,800 on DraftKings. Really great.
Who'd you say?
Lowry is $1,000 cheaper on FanDuel. Love his $38 price tag on Yahoo as well. Fred VanVleet, 8,200 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DraftKings, $31 on Yahoo. And then Serge Ibaka, $7K on FanDuel, $7,300 on DK, $27 on Yahoo. No-brainer play for Serge Ibaka on Yahoo at $27, but no-brainer play regardless, I think. I'm going to have a ton of Lowry, VanVleet, and Ibaka. These guys play monster minutes, like pretty much no matter what. I've got Lowry and VanVleet both in for 38. What do you want to do with Toronto?
Yeah, I'm with you on Lowry and VanVleet. I mean, even like when Siakam was in, you're still getting 38 minutes on average from Lowry. VanVleet's playing huge minutes as well, and then now you just get more usage and more assist opportunities without Siakam on the floor as well. So 6 games since Siakam's injury, VanVleet's averaging 1.05 DraftKings points per minute. Lowry's at 1.1. Good matchup against Cleveland. Perfectly fine pricing on these guys. So I think both of them are definitely priorities for me today.
Let's talk about how Ibaka can't stay on the floor in crunch time. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to struggle quite a bit against the Cavs. They have got a lot of alternative plans, I'm sure. I love Ibaka here. 7K FanDuel, 7,300 DraftKings. That's $7,000 price on FanDuel is pretty easy for me to get to. I gave him 32 minutes. He would be my favorite power forward option. I'm going to be loading up on these 3 guys. They're going to be probably 3 of my most owned guys for the day.
I was going through Popcorn Machine and I forgot that I had scrolled back to the beginning of December to get the most recent game that D'Angelo Russell missed. And so then I just clicked on like the most recent Toronto game and I thought I'd lost my mind because Marc Gasol came back and played 32 minutes and I didn't know it. And then you're talking about Ibaka playing 32 and I was just like really confused. But yeah, I'm with you.
Do you want anybody else from Toronto? I don't really have any interest in OG or Boucher. Terrence Davis for 3,900 on FanDuel is a little viable. They can give Pat McCaw as many minutes as they want. I don't think that's really viable.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in much else. You mentioned Ibaka not being able to stay on the floor during garbage or during crunch time. I assume whatever comment you were referring to was talking about him not closing against Boston with like a 17-point lead.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I can't believe he wasn't able to tough it out.
The closing lineup was O'Shea, Boucher, Van Vliet, Lowry, and McCall. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I could not have less interest in Chris Boucher, and people are asking in chat. I don't expect to have him in a lineup as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to split 48 minutes with Ibaka, basically.
Yep.
If Ibaka plays 24, then Boucher is a good play, but Ibaka's probably not playing 24. Normally, when Boucher gets there, it's because the second unit gets hot, and the first unit wasn't playing well. So or it's a blowout. So like you need a ton of blowout run for Boucher, or you need the second unit to get hot. Like the first game that he had a big game after Siakam went down, the second unit brought Toronto back from down like 17 or 18 points in the third. So Boucher played like the entire fourth quarter. You need a really weird game flow for Boucher to get those minutes.
Would you rather have Lowry or Van Vliet?
Lowry, it's super close. Lowry by a very small margin.
Okay. I would guess Lowry by a bigger margin on FanDuel since he's $400 cheaper.
Yes.
And then we go to Cleveland because they also are in this game. Kevin Love is $7,300 on FanDuel, $7,500 on DK, $30 on Yahoo. To me, he is the best option from the Cavs. Tristan Thompson looks pretty good for $6,400 on FanDuel as well. You need to get a little bit of Colin Sexton or Kevin Porter. I think both guys are guys you can roster. $5,100 Sexton on FanDuel, a lot better than the $5,800 tag. You going to get a lot of volume out of Cleveland?
I would hope not. Not a good matchup against Toronto. They suck, obviously. Like Colin Sexton's playing a little bit more now that Clarkson's out. Got 34 minutes last game. But the price tag isn't really favorable. The matchup isn't. Love being back. It spaces the floor more, but it also does, he's a higher usage guy than Larry Nance is. So I don't really like anything from Cleveland. Okay. But like Sexton and Thompson would be the two that I look to the most.
$7,300 Love on FanDuel is definitely my favorite piece, but
75 on DraftKings is kind of just there.
Yep. I have 3 small forwards in my entire player pool on FanDuel right now because I haven't added ownership yet, so that'll bring some additional guys in. But just from where my cutoffs are,
House, Barton, Burks,
Barton, Burks, Glenn Robinson.
Okay.
Terrible, man. So bad.
You should probably get $4,500 Rudy Gay in there.
Yeah. Oh, these guys will end up in there eventually. It's just where I draw my cutoffs. It will add in a bunch of guys depending on where they are owned. So that fills in the back end for it. Make sure that I don't have anything like really stupid.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree. Rudy Gay will show up. Dorian Finney-Smith, Kevin Porter. But yeah, just 3 in raw data. It's the same as center.
Porter should get more usage now with Clarkson gone too, playing with that second unit, but the salary is just up a little higher than I would like, at least on DraftKings.
Is there anything from Cleveland you like more than the big 3 from Toronto?
No.
Okay. Oklahoma City, Dallas Mavericks. Final game. But first, please everybody, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. We've got the deeper dive today with myself and Adam running it back. We'll have a lot more information at that point so we could really dig in, bust out the full hour. And then we'll have live before lockup after that. Jake will have his hockey show. 4 p.m. Eastern time, talking a little NHL for New Year's Eve. Not a ton going on. We've got some NFL content in the hopper getting ready for later this week. You'll have some shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday talking about this weekend's wildcard round for the NFL. But for now, We've got Oklahoma City. We've got Dallas. Mavs 1.5 point favorites in Oklahoma City. I have God, why can I not remember his name? Danilo Gallinari.
Luka.
No. I don't have Danilo Gallinari in right now. But I do have quite a bit of interest in Chris Paul, SGA, Steven Adams, and Dennis Schroeder. Chris Paul in particular, 7,400 on FanDuel, 7,200 on DK, standing out most to me. Steven Adams for 6,200 on FanDuel, probably my second favorite option. I didn't expect to see this, but I really like the Thunder today.
Yeah, I think their pricing is just pretty favorable. You're getting a lot of minutes from those guys, a little bit more usage if Gallinari's not in the lineup since he's a 23 or 24% guy and Darius Bazley's like 13. So yeah, it's pretty appealing. Like Dallas isn't a terrible team defensively. This shouldn't be a really fast-paced game, but the pricing is just pretty favorable for how many minutes these guys play.
Chris Paul is just wildly underpriced. I did not expect to see this. I guess I'm okay with all of it. Flip the coin between SGA and Paul. $200 separating them on DraftKings. Same exact price on FanDuel.
Slight edge to Paul. Okay. SGA gets more minutes, but Paul just contributes in more ways. So I think it's a little bit easier for him to get there. And then there's still the chance that he plays like 36 minutes also.
I gave him 33. I gave SGA 33. I gave Schroeder 33. But they've been playing like significantly bigger minutes. But if I went any higher than that, the colors on my screen got even greener than they were. So I just kind of stopped for that.
I went 34 Paul, 36 SGA, 32 Schroeder.
Yeah. I completely get it. It's possible I end up there as I get closer and start running some dummy crunches, but once I see that green get really dark, I just usually stop cranking up the minutes. Otherwise, I know how it ends. Anybody else besides the four main Thunder guys? Are you talking yourself into Darius Bazley?
Absolutely not.
Good. Yeah, it's just the main four for me. If Gallo is in, does that impact you dramatically here?
I mean, I would take a couple minutes off of Schroeder. I would cut SGA's usage rate down from 30% to like 20, around 26. Gallo himself is pretty affordable. So he would basically, I would end up with Gallo over Schroeder as like my main four. So like Paul, SGA, Adams, Gallo.
And I'm going to have a lot of Chris Paul, and I don't feel like those types of days work out for me all that well. Point guard's pretty deep on FanDuel today. Luka, obviously, Russ. Like, I'm not enamored with those two guys, but they're two quote-unquote stars. Lowry, Paul, Jamal Murray, DeJounte Murray, Kai Bowman at 3,700. A lot of choices to make.
Yeah, definitely a deep position for 4 games.
Meanwhile, small. Can I roster any of these point guards at small forward?
On DraftKings, you can.
I know. Draymond Green. Feels like a fantasy draft day. On the Dallas side, Luka Doncic, 10-8 on FanDuel. Yes, please. 11-6 on DraftKings. A little bit less. Yes, please. That's a big number given Harden's price tag. Any way you can prioritize Luka ahead of Harden today if he's in?
I mean, I'm going to end up with him projected a little bit higher, but it's really tough when you're talking about an $1,100 difference. I think that the only way I'd really end up doing it is if, Harden's projected for an insane amount of ownership and Luka's not. There seems like there's enough value on DraftKings, enough underpriced guys where it probably wouldn't be that difficult to get to Luka instead. So from an ownership standpoint, it potentially is reasonable, but as far as like median projections go or optimal lineups, it's pretty tough to be paying a lot more for Luka than Harden.
Yeah, we have Harden at 0.9%, mostly due to the question marks on his health. It's going to be hard to look into that with any sort of, keen eye. Kristaps Porzingis, 8,400 on FanDuel, 7,800 on DK, mid-20s in ownership. He's just kind of there for me.
Yeah, kind of there for me too. Like the price is finally starting to come down after Luka coming back, but for this particular slate, it's still not a price point that I really am excited about. Like you have Jeremy Grant at power forward for value. You have Eric Paschall for value. On DraftKings, at least, it's not like you actually need to roster like 2 power forwards. So it's if he gets in some lineups, okay, but it's not looking like a great play for me.
Powell, DeLon Wright, DFS. Are you trying to use any of the rotational? No, not at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Man, this is not the most desirable slate. There are guys that I like a lot, and then just a sea of no.
Yeah, I mean, there's no games where like you expect it to be a track meet. You have San Antonio as 11-point favorites. Toronto as 10-point favorites. Like Dallas OKC should be a good game, but it's not. They're not appealing DFS teams really, as far as like defensively or pace. And then kind of the same thing goes for the Denver game. So yeah, it's definitely not one that you look at it and you're just like, oh, like all these games are going to be so high scoring.
No. All right. Sum it up. Give me the guys you have your eye on DraftKings for today.
Harden, Lowry, Van Vliet, Paul. God, it's really like all guards. DeRozan, Adams, Capella, Bowman.
Done?
Grant. Okay. Yeah, Grant.
Okay.
I was trying to find like Fords, so I wasn't just naming every guard on the slate.
All right. Point guard on FanDuel for me is going to be Chris Paul, DeJounte Murray, Kyle Lowry. Shooting guard is going to be Van Vliet, SGA, and then I know that I'm going to have enough money for Harden. Small forward, Alec Burks, Glenn Robinson, Will Barton, I guess. Not really fond of that position today. That is going to be just a complete dumpster fire. Good luck getting the right combo there. Power forward, Serge Ibaka for sure. Marquise Chris, Jeremy Grant. And then at center, Steven Adams. And then I think that Jokic, Capella, if he is in, and Tristan Thompson all look pretty comparable. But Adams would be the guy I'm looking to most. Guys, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. You should go check out our our Twitter account. It's the final day of our 8 Crazy Nights giveaway. There'll be a pinned tweet detailing out what you need to do today to try to win a monthly pass. That's a $90 value. You'll be trying to guess the highest scoring player on tonight's NBA slate. Alex's Premium Live blog is the free content for today. You can also get free NHL player projections to close out 2019. As I mentioned before, Adam and I will be back later for the deeper dive. Adam will also get you guys all of your best written content for the deep dive. Cheat sheets are already up. Keep your eyes peeled for Emacs Cash Building Blocks article. But tune in a little bit later. You'll get 2 more hours of coverage on this 4-gamer, the final day, 2019. Oh, plus Chris Spagg's 4 Corners video. You'll get that as well. Lots going on for the NBA, guys. Adam, anything else?
No, I think you covered it.
I did indeed. Best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you again later.